What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the show. So I have some good news and some bad news. So the good news is that Speaker Pelosi brought back the paid family leave for at least 4 weeks. So she brought it back in the House. So basically what we're looking at is we're looking at the House they need to vote and the Senate needs to vote. So just because something passes the House doesn't mean it will pass the Senate. And then we're also going to take a look and listen to Senator Manchin. Senator Manchin spoke to the press yesterday. And so we're going to take a look and see exactly what he's talking about when it comes to this second infrastructure bill. So that's what we have to talk about today. But first off, on this channel, we talk about news that matters. If that sounds like something interesting to you, please subscribe to the channel and hit that little bell notification. That way you'll get notified anytime we put out a video. And like always, if you see my name and my picture in the comment section, make sure you also see a check mark next to my name. That check mark signifies that it's me. If you do not see that check mark, it's not me. It's someone trying to impersonate me. Okay, so as I stated, paid family leave. It looks like Speaker Pelosi brought that back into this bill. So that's good. That's very, very good news. We'll have to see where it goes when it comes to that. Now, Senator Manchin's open to paid leave, but he wants employers and employees to pay for it. So he wants to add this tax. So we're going to take a look. Let's go ahead and take a look and listen. Here we go.
What's your reaction to the last election? Last night, well, let me just talk about the reaction to that. It's just unbelievable when I see it, the country's divided as it is right now. When you see a blue state such as New Jersey, who we consider a blue state, and have over 2.2 million votes being cast, and they're down to just maybe less than 100. It separates them. It's unbelievable.
Now, this is crazy because he's talking about how divided this country is, and he is part of the division because we can't even get a bill passed by Democrats. That's division. Not only are you divided when it comes to being a Democrat or being a Republican and the different platforms and sides and all that, but within the Democratic Party, we still have division. So it's unbelievable that he thinks this is unbelievable because he is part of the division. He is what's holding up everything right now when it comes to this second infrastructure bill and the first, if you want to look at it that way. He wants that first infrastructure bill to pass, but he knows what's at stake. He knows he needs to move forward with the second infrastructure bill in order for that to happen.
To see what went on in Virginia, and then not just from the governor's race, but all the way down that ticket, a good bit of changes happened. I think we need to work together. So we just need to come together, which I've been preaching forever.
Yes, we need to come together. And you said you've been preaching that forever, but you're not coming together because the majority of the Democrats want a certain thing and you don't want it. So you're not coming together.
Let's start looking and working together, listening to our people back home. I've been listening to the people in West Virginia. They're concerned about inflation. They really have been for a long time.
They might be concerned about inflation, just like I think we're all concerned about inflation, but they're also concerned about a lot of these other things that are in this second infrastructure bill that he is not addressing right now. He's just talking about inflation, but that's it. He's not talking about all the other things that are in this bill.
And they talked to him. They said, I go to the grocery store and I can't, it takes me $30 more to buy what I did 6 months ago. I go to the filling station to drive to go to work and I'm spending $20 more to fill up the tank or more. These are concerning. And they know that higher utility bills are coming out of this winter. And we need to be cognizant of that. We just can't just say, well, we can do this, this, and this, and we'll take care of it. We've got to be very careful.
The Speaker just announced 4 weeks. House Democrats have just put paid leave 4 weeks back into their bill. Is that something you support?
I never heard. This is the first time hearing it.
Now, isn't that interesting? He's saying this is the first time hearing that. Your job is to know what's going on Capitol Hill. That's your job. So I'm sure you have aides that are out there listening to what's going on. So either he's not being honest with us when he says this is the first time hearing that, or he just has no clue what's going on in Capitol Hill, which he should know. I mean, this is a bill that they're negotiating currently, so he should know exactly what's going on.
Well, he just announced that. Okay, I'm just...
well, hearing that, what do you think?
Well, that's a challenge, very much.
That's a challenge. So obviously he's not 100% for paid leave, and we already knew that. But later he's going to talk about the pay for, and that's going to be somewhere else where I'll stop and we'll talk a little bit about this because it's just not going to happen, and he knows it's not going to happen.
It's a challenge, and they know how I feel about that.
But yesterday you said you support paid leave. So
I sure do. I just don't support unpaid leave. That means getting more debt and basically putting more social programs that we can't pay for. We're having problems now. I want to support paid leave. I want to do it in a bipartisan way. I've talked to Susan Collins. I've talked to colleagues on both sides. We both agree something can be done. Let's do that in the proper. We're trying to force it through reconciliation, which has guardrails and rules and regulations. Let's do it and do it right and not.
Okay, now the pay for when it comes to this whole package, this $1.75 trillion second infrastructure bill or human infrastructure bill, there are pay fors. So the fact that he's talking about right now, he wants it to be paid for, that's already there. So they're not just adding this to the debt. So that it's always interesting when you hear these politicians trying to spend things, and he's trying to, I don't even know what he's talking about at this point, because he knows that there are pay-fors that are taking care of all this stuff. So it's interesting just how he tries to put that out there, like we don't want to just add to the debt. Paid family leave is just going to add to the debt, when in actuality, this $1.75 trillion bill has pay-fors, and it will be paid for.
Do it in this.
Do you think that sets back the effort? Does that set back
I
the
have no
effort?
idea what's coming from the House. And I've told them the House needs to really, truly pass the infrastructure bill. That's something that's proven. The people know what's in it. The states have been advised of what they're going to get done. And in my state, I just gave a speech. $6 billion comes to the state of West Virginia, fixes my roads and bridges, and fixes internet services, water and sewer, airports, all these things. That's what they really want. And on the other stuff that's coming from the House, they're going to do what the House does, and we expect that, and we'll start working it deliberately through the Senate.
Senator, workers should be paying into a paid leave program like that.
Absolutely. I think it should be participation. I always felt that. I think that basically employer and employees should participate. We have states around this country doing it now, and we have countries around the world doing it. And it seems to work very well and does not put a burden on anybody, but a person knows what they have and what they can use and how they can use it when they want it.
So he's talking about a tax. So they're going to have a tax where the employee and the employer will pay a tax, just kind of like what we're doing with Social Security. I don't know if that's going to work. I really don't. And he's talking about it's working around the world, and some states are implementing the same thing. But when it comes down to what President Biden is pushing for, President Biden has already indicated that he is not raising taxes on people making less than $400,000. So President Biden can't be for this, because if he's for this, then that breaks that promise. And guess what? You break that promise, guess who's going to be waiting to say, oh, you broke the promise. Look, you're taxing people making less than $400,000. You're going to have Republicans that are going to come out and say, look at this. So even if you're giving the American people something when it comes to a paid family leave, or I won't even say giving, you're allowing the American people to utilize paid family leave by paying into it, paying a tax, that's not going to work, because it will go against his core principle of not raising taxes on people making less than $400,000. So it's just not going to go anywhere. And Senator Manchin knows this. He knows the platform. He knows what President Biden wants and doesn't want.
Just based on what you saw last night, do you think voters were sending the message that your party should pare back on the very progressive policies that they're pushing right now?
You know, I'm not going to speak on the message that was sent. I just think that the message was really sent. If we're going to do something, let's take time and do it right. Let's make sure that people know what's in it. And I've said that before. Sometimes and it's not intentionally the game's being played. It's where the system is very convoluted. People need to know that. What we're getting for it, what you're going to expect, how much you're going to pay for it, and go on and on and on. But, you know, we're talking about revamping the whole entire tax code. That's mammoth, totally. We've had no hearings, no open hearings. You haven't been able to listen to a hearing. None of us have. And the people definitely don't. We're scared to death.
Some Democrats think we shouldn't get faster. That's their argument.
I understand that. I really do. We just have a difference of agreement on that.
You don't think that not delivering?
So is your position that paid leave, there's no place for it in the
I
reconciliation?
just think it's the wrong place to put it, because it's a social expansion. And right now, I've said very clearly that social expansion, especially on any of these, when you have deficits you're looking at, insolvency, such as in Medicare and Social Security, and those are lifelines to people in most rural states, but definitely in West Virginia, that's their lifeline. And now we're talking about expanding something we can't even pay for now. They want to keep what they have. And I think those are all aspirational. Let's get our financial house in order and then be able to tackle all of these.
Senator, so you don't think
Okay, so he's talking about financial order. Let's get, I mean, what are you going to do about Social Security? So do you have some type of plan to reform Social Security, which needs to happen? We all know it needs to happen. We have about 13 more years, and the trust fund will be out of money, which means that people on Social Security are going to get about 78% to 80% of what they're getting now. And so why are we not addressing that? You just keep talking about, we don't want to expand it. Well, let's reform it. Let's get something done when it comes down to Social Security. Don't just use it as a tool to say, well, we don't want to do this. We don't want to expand Medicare. We don't want to expand Social Security because in 13 years, we're going to have issues with Social Security running out of money. Address it now. Don't wait until 13 years down the road and then say, oh, well, we knew this was going to happen, but we just kept kicking the can down the road, which politicians love to do. And then we'll be in a situation where now we have a big problem when it comes to Social Security.
In Virginia, independents swung to Glenn Youngkin compared to 2020. What does that say about concerns you think voters might have about inflation or the scope of the EBB package, some of the things you've raised?
You can read so much into all of that last night. I mean, I think it should be a call to all of us have to be more attentive to the people back home. And I've been trying to do that from day one. And I've been saying this for many, many months. People have concerns. People are concerned. They're very much so. And for us to go down a path that we've been going and they were trying to accelerate it and it has been slowed down, I think that we need to take our time and do it right. So you can read anything you want out of it, the bottom line.
Okay, so take our time, do it right. Basically means that we're going to be looking at least another month before anything happens. I mean, we're looking at another deadline in December 3rd, when it comes to raising the debt ceiling and in the budget. So that's probably when we'll revisit this. But I don't see anything happening anytime soon. And Senator Manchin is pretty much saying that right now. We need to take our time. So that's pretty much what we have when it comes down to that.
What do you read at?
We have a divided country.
What do you read at?
We have a divided country. It needs to be united, and you can't unite it by just going by one party system.
You think your party, you think the White House?
All right, so that was Senator Manchin, and like I just said, I mean, I think this is going to be something that we're going to be talking about in December. Early December is going to be the same situation. Understand we have some holidays coming up, so we're looking at a situation where Congress is not going to be there a lot of the month, and I don't know the exact dates yet. I'll put that in another video. I didn't do that research yet, but we know they go on recess, so they will be on recess, and obviously they're not going to be working during Thanksgiving. So we're looking at a situation where December 3rd is probably going to be the next deadline that we're going to hear about. And Senator Manchin right now doesn't want to move forward. He does not want to move forward. He wants to take his time. He wants everyone to kind of step back, see exactly what's in this bill, see how we're going to pay for it, means tested, do all this other stuff. And so that's what we're looking at right now when it comes to this second infrastructure bill, this human infrastructure bill. So that's what I have for you guys today, but I do want to know what you guys think. So in the comment section, let me know what you think about all this. So if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more.